To lecture series. Today we'll be seeing about hype cycle in industrial IoT. So Gartner hype cycle, generally called as hype cycle. So this is predominantly used to find out where the technology will be used or how the growth of a technology might be. So there are many technologies that come to the market. There are n number of technologies that are available in market. Not all technologies are suitable for taking up to production. Okay, very few technologies are actually commercializable, and also it can be changed into a product. Okay, so to find out whether the technology will be profitable for the business or industry, we generally go for a Gartner hype cycle, or called as hype cycle. So that is where the hype cycle comes into picture, to find out whether the technology will actually benefit the industry or a business. Okay. So this is the general graph of a hype cycle. So it is a methodology where through which we can determine the technology, where the technology lies, or in which cycle a technology will be. So the starting is so let us take a particular technology, okay, for an industry. So the first one is technology trigger. This is the first step in a hype cycle. So here a new technology will be available in the market. It will produce a trigger, right? Trigger is nothing but commotion or a new entry to an existing environment or an existing market. So new technology is being introduced into the market, but we don't know the hype or how the technology will be beneficial to the industry. We just know a technology exists, but we don't actually know how the technology will be used in the market. So that is a technology trigger. So this trigger can be a positive trigger or a negative trigger. Okay, so positive trigger in the sense that it will lead to plateau of productivity. Negative trigger in the sense that it will go to trough of disillusionment, and it will stay there. It will not come out of the disillusionment. Okay, so first one is innovation trigger or a technology trigger. This is where the technology is still emerging, or it is in the experimental state. It has not been implemented or successfully launched into the market. It is an initial stage of a technology. Okay, it has not been used or implemented in an environment. Okay, say for example, a digital twin, AI-driven autonomous factories, 6G enabled industrial communication. These are all new technologies which has been found out or which has been formulated, but it has not been used in an industry or an business yet. Okay, so we generally go for 4G and 5G. 6G is not being used, and in case of autonomous factories, we have automated few pick and plays, or we have automated stock checking, and all those things are automated. But AI driven autonomous factories are not yet been implemented in real life. So these are all triggers. So in technology trigger, where these technologies are there, it is just trigger. We have not yet implemented it in real life. So it is still in the experimental stage. Okay. The next one is peak of inflated expectation. This is where you put lot of hope in the technology. You tell that this technology is what is going to save my industry, or it is a boom to the industry. It is going to produce mass results and all those things in industry. This is where there are a lot of expectation. So generally it happens that anything new comes to the market or to the environment, there will be a lot of expectation on the market, on the particular. It can be a technology, it can be a product, it can be anything, but there will be a lot of expectation, right? The same thing happens for technology also. So initially there will be the technology has been entered into the market, but we don't know whether it is positive or a negative technology, whether it will take off or it will just stand where it is. Okay, the next one is peak of inflated expectation, is where you place lot of hopes. You just find out, okay, it can be used in the automation industry, it can be used in a plant, a factory plant, it can be used for an outlet, and all those things you discuss. This is where a lot of expectation has been placed on the technology. It is not yet been tested. Okay, say for example, machine learning and IIoT. Machine learning is being used. Machine learning algorithms are used in IoT environment, but not completely. It has not been completely deployed for an automation of an industry. So that is peak of inflated expectation, wherein you place a large scope on the technology, okay, more than it is being capable of. The next one is trough of disillusionment. This is where the reality kicks in. Okay, this is where you find out, okay, this technology is not for everyone, or there is not a very big scope for this technology, or you just find out that, okay, this is not our cup of tea. That is what you find out, or you find that, okay, it has a lot of expectation, but there are a lot of drawbacks to this technology that it cannot be implemented in a factory or an environment. Okay, there are positive things in the technology, it is promising, okay, but it has lot of other drawbacks which prevents this technology is being implemented in a real time scenario. Okay, that is trough of disillusionment. This is where many industry pull out of the research. So initially all the industries will be discussing with their R&D panel, and they'll be exploring the possibilities of a technology. So this is where many industries will pull out of the experiment or research. Okay, they tell that okay, this is not that much of importance, or it doesn't deliver that much expectation as we have kept on the technology. Okay, this is trough of disillusionment. Okay, the next one is slope of enlightenment. So here is where, so initially what you've done, many companies have pulled in, many industries have pulled in. In trough of disillusionment, you find out, okay, this is not for everyone, for all the industries. So most of the companies pull out of the research. Very few companies stay, or this technology has only very limited implementation in a particular domain. It is not applicable for all domains. You find out for which particular domain this technology is profitable or is completely applicable. So that is slope of enlightenment. This is where you find out, okay, this is how the technology will work. You have proven results there, you have proven growth graph related to the technology. Say for example, predictive maintenance, edge computing, condition monitoring system. Here you can vouch for the technology. Predictive maintenance, all, oh yes, it is possible, it is prevalent. You can also do betterment for the technology, you can improve the technology, all, but it is prevalent. So that is slope of enlightenment. You find out this technology is applicable, it is really applicable, you accept, and other industries start to accept or implement it in their industry. Okay, so next is plateau of productivity. Here is where it has been widely adopted by almost all the industries. So initially you find out the technology, you find out the domain for the technology, and then you allocate a particular domain for the technology, and then other industries slowly they come to a conclusion that okay, this can be used in our industry also for this particular domain, and you find out and you adapt this technology in the real life environment or in a market or an industrial plant. Say for example, SCADA system integrated with IoT, cloud-based IoT platforms. This is all prevalent. Initially, it was a technology trigger, but now it has been proven concept. Okay, that is plateau of productivity. Here is where it is a proven technology that for sure it will give you profits, or it is a success in a market, and you can rely on this particular technology for the growth of your industry. So this is where you find out, you place a technology whether it is successful or not. Okay. So generally, this Gartner hype cycle, why you go for this hype cycle is that initially you will not be knowing about the scope of the technology. So when you go for this cycle, you find out step by step when you place the technology in the particular steps and find out the possibilities. Here is where you will be able to understand whether the technology is applicable for the industry or not, or for which particular business or industry it is applicable. So the hype cycle is predominantly used to find out the growth of a technology wherein it can be implemented in a real time market. Okay, and also it helps to wisely invest. You cannot go invest in a technology that cannot come out of trough of disillusionment. So it advises you wisely. Okay, this technology is not going to boom now. It might have a growth in 10 to 20 years, but it is a long term investment or a goal. So you can go for this. Immediately you can change the technology. Okay, so that is where this Gartner hype cycle comes in. Okay, it is prevalently used by business analysts to find out the growth of a technology, whether it will be a negative growth or a positive growth for the particular industry. Okay, so we'll just have a summary of what we have seen in this particular topic. So we have seen hype cycle. So it has 5 stages. First one is technology trigger. It can be a positive trigger or a negative trigger. This is where a new technology comes into the market. It has not been tested, but it is a new technology. They have found okay, there is a new technology. Next one is peak of inflated expectation. Like you have high expectation in anything that comes new. There is an high expectation placed on the technology. We have not yet known its full capability, but you have expectation. You have expectation, assumptions, and you come, place so much expectation on the particular technology. Then comes trough of disillusionment. Here is where realization comes in, reality checks in, and you find out, okay, this technology is not applicable for all industries, or you find out that this technology will not come out of this trough of disillusionment. It will stay here forever. It will not come out of it. So you just discard the research for this technology and you go for alternative technologies. Next comes of slope of enlightenment. Here is where few companies for which this particular technology can be useful, they keep on researching and they find out the best possible ways of implementing this technology in their company or their factory plant. Okay. Next one is plateau of productivity. Here is where the technology has been completely implemented and it is a foolproof concept where you can blindly believe and you can tell that this technology is applicable for this domain, for this particular application. You come to a conclusion and it remains stable. Stable in the sense it doesn't change henceforth. Okay, there is not a deflection or a inflation. All it is just stable. Okay, that is called as peak plateau of productivity. Here the technology is being branded for a particular domain and an application. So this is the growth or a cycle of a technology. This can be applied to many technologies to find out the scope of the technology in the market. Okay, thank you.